Hello and welcome to Elecspo. The other day we brought you the first episode of our Recording Football Manager 2015 series, looking at where Man United were on the game in the year 2020. Well, today it's Liverpool's turn, and spoiler alert, things aren't quite as rosy as they are in the current day. So is Jurgen Klopp patrolling the Anfield dugout? Nope, not at all. Brendan Rodgers is still the boss at Liverpool, with this simulation starting the season after the faithful Steven Gerrard slip and title collapse. Klopp is actually unemployed, getting the sack from Germany after failing to win Euro 2020, but more on that in another video. So back to Liverpool, and Brendan Rodgers is probably only still in the job because of his success in the Cups, winning 5 trophies so far. The first was the 2019 FA Cup, but his next was the biggest, delivering the Champions League back to Merseyside after beating Schalke in the final, interestingly in the same year that in real life Liverpool won the Cup against Spurs. But anyway, I digress. Rodgers followed that up with wins in the European Super Cup and the Club World Cup, before returning to Wembley in 2020 to win the League Cup. But in the Premier League, things haven't been so pretty. Their best ever finish during the simulation was second back in 2016, but they were as low as 7th in 2019, obviously putting all their eggs in the Champions League basket. So how did they do in the 2019-20 season? While in the real world they're just waiting to be crowned champions, it was a race for the top 4 in Football Manager 2015. Brendan Rodgers' side finished 4th, pepping Arsenal at that final Champions League place only by goal difference. It nearly didn't happen though, with Liverpool having to come from behind to beat a 9-man Stoke City side 2-1. So let's have a look at how they lined up. In goal was Simon Mignolet. While the Reds have one of the best keepers in the world in reality with Alisson Becker, Simon Mignolet is still the number 1 in Football Manager 2015 in the year 2020. He's barely missed a game, always being Brendan Rodgers' first choice in between the sticks, with the only thing keeping him out of action being a torn hamstring in 2017. Mignolet has been unchallenged and has actually just enjoyed his best season in terms of average rating, moving from the high 6s to a 7. As for Alisson, he's still playing for Internacional in Brazil. Obviously the guys at FM didn't get the memo that he was going to be really good, but then again I don't think anyone did 5 years ago. Centre back was Jesus Vallejo. We were going straight at the centre-backs as Rodgers used an odd 3-4-2-1 formation on the game. The first central defender we've got is Jesus Vallejo, a man who was massively flopped on loan at Wolves this season back in the real world. But on FM he's a bit of a gem to be honest, a player I always like to sign as more often than not you can get him on the cheap. He cost Liverpool £12 million from Newcastle in the summer of 2019, and his debut season was certainly a strong one, with an average rating of 7.33. He was alongside Dejan Lovren. He joined Liverpool in 2014 and he's still there on Football Manager, although he hasn't actually been a consistent starter for Rodgers. He's been in and out of the side, with various different defenders taking his place from time to time, but he's batted them all off, with Neven Subotic and Dante both leaving the club, with the former heading to Real Madrid and the latter retiring. The other option in Rodgers' squad is Kevin Wimmer, the former Spurs man who's a lot better on FM15 than he is in reality. Our third centre-back is Robin Nosh. A £20 million signing from Wolfsburg in 2018, Robin Nosh has proven to be an excellent piece of business by Liverpool, with the defender now wanted by Spurs and Atletico Madrid. He's been solid in a red shirt, averaging about a 7 for both of his seasons as a Liverpool player, and he's got 1 goal to his name, which came at the best time possible. He netted the equaliser on the final day of the season against Stoke, kicking off the comeback that led to the Champions League qualification. On the right of midfield is Hirving Lozano. With the famous number 7 on his back, Hirving Lozano has enjoyed a decent start to life in Liverpool, even if he only played 5 times during his first season. He cost £11.75 million from Galatasaray, and he should have a long Liverpool career ahead of him, as he's only 24 now. His numbers are good, he's got great pace and can cross a ball, and will likely only get better. The main issue is, he's probably one of the most creative players, but is also having to do his defensive duties because of Rodgers' odd little system. But if he decides to play someone else out there, he's also got Lazar Markovic, Christ remember him, and new signing Kevin Campbell, who can play all over the midfield by the looks of things. Centre midfielder is Andre Gomes. A controversial one here, as in the real world Andre Gomes is a fan favourite down the road at Everton. But on Football Manager 2015 in the year 2020, the Portuguese midfielder is a key player under Brendan Rodgers, having arrived from Valencia in 2016 for a massive £29 million. He's been well worth it though, scoring goals and providing assists from the centre of the park, a bit like a certain Steven Gerrard used to do at Anfield. Gomez' form has caught the attention of the big boys though, with Barcelona currently interested in signing him, which is somewhat ironic, isn't it? He was alongside Jordan Henderson. Just like in reality, Jordan Henderson is the Liverpool captain, but he actually didn't fully get the armband until 2018. But it's his now, and he lifted the 2019 Champions League trophy just like he did on that fateful night in Madrid. Henderson has been excellent on the game, to be fair to him, proving to be quite the creative force, getting double figures for assists in the past 2 seasons. He's barely missed a game, but could come under pressure from new signing Brian Cristante, an Italian midfielder who cost £17.25 million. Another option they've got is Michael Bradley, the American international who's played far more football than he should have. Oh, and they've got Joe Allen there as well, which isn't surprising considering Rodgers is still the manager. On the left is Gabriel Silva. Liverpool have got some balance on the left flank, with a player who is more of a defender than an attacker. Gabriel Silva is an Italian international who cost £15.25 million from Udinese a few years back, capable of playing anywhere down the left. He seems to have been pretty solid if unspectacular for the Reds, but there are some more exotic options in reserve, such as Victor Fisher and Andre Ayew, 2 players who are nowhere near the Premier League nowadays in reality. Attacking midfield is Philippe Coutinho. The first of 2 attacking midfielders, little fun has managed to stay at Liverpool here, with the temptations of Barcelona not calling his name. Still Rodgers is number 10, Coutinho is their star player, averaging high 7s in pretty much every season of the simulation bar 1. He's also the club's highest earner, taking home a cool £225,000 a week, before tax of course. One of the best players in the world on the game, Liverpool are very fortunate they still have him, considering they haven't won any league titles. Next up is Raheem Sterling. In the year 2020, Raheem Sterling is still a Liverpool player on Football Manager 2015. The move to Manchester City just didn't happen, and he's still a hero at Anfield, second to Philippe Coutinho of course. And to be fair, Sterling hasn't been as impressive. His numbers are okay, but nothing compared to his real life rise at Manchester City. That's maybe a little harsh actually, he's been pretty good for Liverpool, but his highest Premier League tally is just 11 goals, whereas for City in the real world he once managed 18. And up front is Kevin Volland. This is the man who scored the goal to complete the comeback against Stoke and secured Champions League football once again. A modern day hero for the Reds faithful, he arrived in 2017 for just shy of £20 million and he's been a great player, operating anywhere across the front. On this day he was leading the line, but that hasn't always been the case, as Liverpool still have a certain Mario Balotelli in their ranks, and his FM career has gone a lot better than his real one. He's consistently hit double figures in a Liverpool shirt, whereas in reality he only scored once. He was absolutely crap. So that's Liverpool in 2020 according to Football Manager 2015. Let us know what you think in the comments below, tell us which team you want us to look at next, and as always don't forget to like, share and subscribe.